In the last quarter, it sold more than 50 million iPads and phones. It's got hundreds of millions of active users of its products. And it's now the latest high-tech company to disclose that it's been involved with the U.S. government's internet surveillance program. Apple says it got between 4,000 and 5,000 requests for customer data from U.S. law enforcement agencies during the 6 months ending in May. That covers 9,000 to 10,000 accounts or devices. Apple says most of the requests were from police, investigating robberies, abductions, and other crimes, trying to prevent suicides. But some were for national security matters, although the company did not say how many.
Privacy cloaks the whole thing. We don't know what the government's asking for, how often they're asking for it, and what legal authority they cite for doing it.
Mark Rash is a former Justice Department cybercrime prosecutor.
Apple doesn't provide very much of the world's email service, so what kind of data would they be tapping into?
Even without email, Apple collects a tremendous amount of information about people. So if you use, for example, the iCloud service here, the iCloud service will take information that you put on your iPhone anywhere you are, like your calendar functions here will be copied here. Your contact list will be copied here. Email, notes, things like that all get copied onto the cloud and are available for law enforcement or intelligence purposes almost immediately.
Microsoft and Facebook disclosed in recent days that they also got requests from law enforcement for users' data in the second half of 2012.
We pressed Apple to tell us how many of those 4,000 to 5,000 requests it actually complied with. We didn't hear back on that. By comparison, Facebook says it got 9,000 to 10,000 data requests from the government in the last half of 2012. Facebook told us it complied with almost 80% of those requests.
I asked Chris Segoyan, technical advisor with the American Civil Liberties Union, what happens if a company doesn't comply.
Ultimately, if the government has the right kind of court order, they're following the right steps, if the company pushes back too much, the company will get sued, and then it'll get settled in court.
We contacted the major U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies to comment on this, asked them to break down how many of the requests to Apple came from each one of them. They either wouldn't comment or they referred us to the Justice Department. Justice also wouldn't break those numbers down, referring us to an earlier statement saying it used the right legal processes in these requests and that a very small number of accounts were targeted.